Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Are you still listening to half-assed talk radio with a host talking down to a caller? Turn it off and turn on the Great American Broadcast Network. You'll hear the host talking with lots of listeners, the citizen panel, and they become the co-hosts. Turn off half-assed talk and turn on talk radio with more ass than you can handle. All opinions, all ideas, all in one place. The Great American Broadcast Network.
Hi everybody, this is Alex Bennett, and I've had a long and interesting trip. It's called life. And for years, people have demanded that I write a book about it, and while I've been a writer, my main talent has always been that of a broadcaster. Over a year ago, I decided not to write the book, but using my best skill, I decided to tell it. It's called Life in the Passing Lane, and I described it as an audio biography. It's presented in 30-minute chapters, so it's easy to binge listen. And you can access it on the GabNet page by clicking on Life in the Passing Lane and going to a page with every single episode, plus some extras. If you want to access it on your mobile device, that's easy too. It's on iTunes. It's Life in the Passing Lane, an audio biography by me. I'm Alex Bennett.
Spotify has 180 million monthly users and access to 35 million songs and podcasts. Now, all those offerings are going to have to move over and make room for GabNet programming. Yes, at long last, Alex Bennett's Ramble, Damian Chaplin's Exchange, Jack Bishop's The Intersection, and even the franchise MC's Arena and Michael Snyder's weekly movie reviews will be fighting for space on this massive platform. Each day, the programs are updated, so you can hear them on the Spotify app, available for all smartphones and game consoles. Or you can just go to Spotify on the web at spotify.com. So, give us a shot on Spotify. There's a 35 million to 5 chance we'll get people to listen to talk like they've never heard it before.
This is an Internet Network news break. IP Pingsley reporting. Our top story, the Great American Broadcast Network, otherwise known as GabNet, is now a tune-in partner. TuneIn, the world's largest audio network, has joined forces with GabNet, the world's most innovative talk network. GabNet's partnership with TuneIn means that listeners now have 3 main ways to listen to GabNet programming: Gabnet.net, TuneIn.com, and the convenient TuneIn app for smartphones. To participate in the network's innovative citizen panels on GabNet programs, use Skype and type the handle GabNet Live, or call on your phone 347-352-0079. For more information on this network, its programs, and its hosts, log on to Gabnet.net. That's Gabnet.net. This has been an Internet Network news break.
Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey! Hey everybody, this is Alex Bennett and this is the Ramble, and we go until midnight tonight, Eastern Daylight Time. And we got a guest, of course, as we like to put on the air at least once a week. Ladies and gentlemen, from out West Coast way, in the lovely town that's too expensive to live in anymore, San Francisco, California. Hello there, Larry Brown.
Hello, Alex. Yes, the New York Times apparently just named us the most expensive rental market in the country.
Oh, really?
Yes.
But really, how expensive, do they say?
I think the average one bedroom's $3,600.
Oh, jeez almighty.
And then this could double because in the next couple of months, Airbnb and Uber and Lyft are supposed to have their IPOs out here, so that'll create even more millionaires.
Oh.
When Twitter had their IPO a few years ago, it created 1,200 millionaires overnight in San Francisco, so that's, I guess, the problem.
So what happens to, Larry Brown, of course, has a rent-controlled apartment, right?
Yes.
And every day they say a little prayer at your landlord's home to have you die.
Yes, I keep looking for gas leaks around here.
Geez almighty, San Francisco was never a cheap town.
No, it's always expensive, but now it's just insane. And
well, how did it drive the prices up? Because all of a sudden you got these millionaires because they were just willing to pay extraordinary
they'll
prices.
pay anything, and they don't want to buy. They said they don't like to buy homes; they just like to rent, so they'll pay anything.
So they'll pay anything.
Yeah.
Well, how did
I read the average salary at Facebook's $240,000.
Wow. See, here's what I don't get. All right. I never knew from things like rent control and rent stabilized until I came to New York and started having this problem with this apartment. I didn't know from stabilized apartments and rent control. How does rent control work in San Francisco? I never asked. They said, here's the rent. I said, that sounds reasonable, and I paid it,
Okay. You pay, like when I rented this place in the mid-'80s, it was $250.
Yeah.
And rent control was in effect, so my $250 could be raised. They can raise it like the cost of living, which is like 1.2% a year, is nothing. But if I leave the apartment, if I vacate it, then they can raise it to whatever they want for the next tenant.
Oh, really? So in other words, if you left,
so they have a real need to kick out rent-controlled tenants.
So in other words, if you were to leave that apartment right now,
it would be $3,200.
$3,200, and you're paying
$550.
Oh God! They want you to die. Do they want you to die?
Well, there's 3 other dinosaurs in this building that have been here longer than me.
Really? Well, as you say, they're hoping for a gas explosion.
Well, sometimes, look, if they offered my neighbor 10 years ago, they offered her $80,000 just to go, and she said no.
No, of course not. Now, can you sublet your apartment?
No, that would be grounds for eviction.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're not.
If I could, I could make a lot of money off it.
You're not going anywhere.
I'm stuck here, and I don't particularly like living here.
Yeah, but you're stuck. I mean, you've got a great rent.
Yeah.
Geez almighty. That's wonderful. Well, we have a thing here called rent. Well, there's rent control, but that is...
Yeah, yours sounds much more complex than this.
Well, it's not that complex, okay? The only people that make it complex are unscrupulous landlords who would like to circumvent the situation. But there are 2 kinds of things. There's rent control, which you don't get anymore, okay? That is grandfathered in for people who I don't know when rent control ended, but when it ended, they still remained rent controlled. Now, I know people who have had families in this building since 1935, okay? And what you can do with rent control is you can will your apartment to somebody. In other words, if you die...
Yeah, it's an asset.
If you die, they can't suddenly come in and raise the rent or do whatever. It can... I have a woman on the first floor whose parents died and left her the apartment. And the rent on her apartment has got to be something like, I'd say if it, with raises and everything, maybe $800 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And they were trying to get her out in the worst way. She had to go to court. She had to fight it. And she had to, but she kept the apartment. And she's got it for, I don't know, bupkis. Okay? Now, then there's this thing called rent stabilization. That came in after rent control. And rent stabilization was that it basically stabilized the price. In other words, you could raise it every so much, as often as once every, I think, 2 years, 3 years, you were able to raise it by a percentage. Okay, but you couldn't take it out of rent stabilization. The only thing that would take it out of rent stabilization is somehow the rent went over a certain amount, and that amount changes every year because it raises. It's very. You are right. It is kind of complex, but what it is basically is that the guy who rented this apartment originally rented it from the landlords who said it wasn't a rent stabilized apartment, when in fact it was. And so that's what he's suing them about. What we're suing him about is he then rented it out to us like he was a landlord, okay? We signed a lease for 3 years, and then later on he said, oh, no, it's a sublet. Well, it wasn't a sublet because he rented to us for 3 years. Sublets are only 2 years. And under sublets, you can't raise the rent from what you're paying for it. In other words, the idea is you want to go move to California for a year. So you want to sublet your apartment. Well, you can sublet it. Landlords cannot unreasonably withhold the ability to sublet, but you can't sublet for double what you're paying for it. So that there are a lot of people, and I think Charlie Ramble, our former congressman from Harlem, got caught in this. He did this whole thing where he had 4 apartments that were rent stabilized that he then rented out for double, triple what he was paying for it and made a profit. Mm-hmm. Well, that's exactly what the guy did who leased us this apartment, or sublet it, he says now, after the fact. And that's considered what's called illusory tenancy. So he hadn't lived here for close to 8 years, something like that. He just kept renting it out at like double the rate he was paying for it, and he was not paying the right rate because it should have been rent stabilized. So, am I making any sense here?
Yeah, but I can't believe how long it's dragged out.
Oh, we're in our what is this? Is this 6 years, something like that? 6 years, 7 years? I don't know how many years now. It's ridiculous. I have to go back and look and figure out how many years it's been. And in the meantime, we haven't paid any rent here because obviously there's nobody to pay rent to. We don't have a lease with anybody, So I would think the landlord would want to solve this thing as fast as possible so that he can start charging us rent. And but then we have to know how much the rent's going to be because this is a rent stabilized apartment house up to a point. But they made it rent stabilized so that they could get benefits and so on. So we don't know how much we would have to pay. So, apparently, just tell us, when we start paying rent and how much that rent should be legally.
Well, that's great. You're living for free. That's great.
Yeah. And people say, well, are you putting the money away in case they ask for it? Well, what? We don't owe anybody any money. We didn't sign a lease.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah, we don't have a lease on this place. We want a lease, We want to know what the rent is going to be, and we also want what this guy has to do, which is if you sublet, if you rather lease an apartment that should be a sublet and is under rent stabilization, then you owe us treble damages. So he has to pay back the difference between what he was paying and what we were paying, and then 3 times that.
Oh, he's screwed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're the only ones with any real case here. And if he prevails over the landlords and proves that he should have been paying lower rent, then the difference between what we were paying is based on that lower rent. So let's say they say he only owes $600 a month because it should have been $5 when he started. Let's say 6, 7, 8, whatever. That could amount to like I don't know what, something like $3,000 times 3 times 30 months.
$270,000.
Yeah, a lot of money. So that's
you're set for life.
Yeah, so maybe you've got a good deal. Right now, we've got an even better deal.
I think so. Yeah.
But to the landlord's credit, the super, when something breaks, comes and fixes it for us. I mean, it's not like they're trying to push us out. Because they know if they do that, then they're really in trouble. So.
Yeah, then you can sue them. And
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, everybody says, well, you don't want this thing resolved anytime soon, do you? And there's part of me that goes, I like nesting, right? And I like the idea. I don't feel that I live in this apartment, that I'm only somehow squatting. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I would like some resolution to it. And it just goes on and on and on. On the 27th of this month, they have a what do you call it? What's when they all get together and try to discuss mediation? And but this mediation has been called off 5 times, something like that. I don't know. The last one was a year ago or something like that. So they say
call it off for another year.
They say this is a mandatory mediation. Okay, so it's a mandatory mediation, and then they'll make a move that they want to hold it off. And I don't know who's holding it off. We're ready to go. We're ready to argue this whole thing. And then so far, but we do pay rent because we've paid $56,000 in legal fees.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that's wow, but you think about that over the time, and we're paying like $800 a month in legal fees, and that's the rent, It's crazy. It is just nuts, And I people always hear me talking about this and going, well, gee, why, you're talking about that again? But it permeates my life, So.
Well, it's a great story. I mean, this is going to be like a landmark case.
Well, I've never really, outside of a few people threatening to sue me now and then when I was doing radio, I've never really had any real legal problems, or a legal situation. I've never had to sue a landlord or whatever. So I'm not used to this whole legal thing. And here's the thing about legal that bothers me. Years ago, I had a lawyer. His name was Mr. Turtle, which is not a good name for a lawyer. Because when you threaten people, you don't want to have to say to them,
the turtle.
If you fuck around with me, you're going to have to talk to my lawyer, Mr. Turtle. I always say Mr. Turtle in a droopy dog voice, Mr. Turtle. But I always love saying my next lawyer. Everybody knows this story. My next lawyer was named Reamer. Now that's a good name for a lawyer.
I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to deal with my lawyer? You're going to have to deal with Mr. Reamer. And the funny part was his mother was a lawyer, and she ran a divorce practice. And she was in business with another guy, and it was the divorce practice of Skinner and Reamer. So anyway, I had this lawyer, Mr. Turtle, and one day I looked at my calendar and went, Fred Reamer's birthday. Not Fred Reamer. What was his? Not Reamer. Excuse me, Mr. Turtle. Joel Turtle. Joel Turtle's birthday. So I call him up and I wish him a happy birthday. A month later, Gary gets a bill for me calling him to wish him a happy birthday. And I learned then, you never call a lawyer. You never write a lawyer an email. Emails have been a boon. Like last month, he wrote us an email to tell us what was happening with the mediation. Marjorie got a bill for $44. What for?
Yeah.
The email.
Yeah.
So in my next life, I want to come back as a fucking lawyer, man. That's a license to kill.
So
Jeez.
saying happy birthday is a billable hour.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, but I mean, they charge for everything. We had this one thing he wrote that we got a bill for $12,000 on. It was like a memorandum or something to the court about what the case was about. I mean, it's beautiful. If I send it to you, you would look at it and go, oh, Bennett's got it made, because he wrote such a compelling case. So that was kind of worth the $12,000, but it's only like 15 pages long, So but it was a college thesis. It looked like, So, but so we have different rental situations here in New York, and my main lawyer, not the lawyer we actually use at the firm, but the main lawyer, the guy who runs the firm, when we first met him, said to us that when he goes to law conventions, they say, what kind of law do you do? And he says, I do, what do you call it? I do rental and, landlord and tenant law. And they said, what's that? Because outside of New York, people don't practice that. Because here, the landlords are such fucking crooks that that law practice was important to happen. So there are a lot of them around. And our guy does landlords and tenants, but he doesn't do landlords. He just does the tenants. Because he said to do landlords would then be kind of a conflict of interest. Mm-hmm. But this is the only city where you actually have law practices that deal with rentals and landlords and tenants and things like that. In San Francisco, you just go to a normal lawyer and he'd look up the laws and he'd say, okay, we'll go to court on that.
Yeah.
But there are guys here who specialize in that. And if you go...
It's a real specialty.
Oh, absolutely. Because it's very complex law. And, it's quite a deal. I mean, I'm amazed by it.
Yeah. I thought I read years ago that there were people on Park Avenue that had places when rent control started there that were paying like $100 a month. Well,
I had a lady I knew who had a place on not West End, but on either Amsterdam or Broadway. Okay, in the 60s. And it was a beautiful apartment. I mean, it was gorgeous, and it was like 5 rooms, and it was spacious, okay? And they then said, well, the place is going to go condo. And she bought it for, I'm trying to remember how much, but I think it was something like $100,000. To buy into the condo. And a year later, that condo was worth $1 million.
Holy crap.
And I said to her, I said, so you're going to sell? And she says, why? I've never lived in an apartment this expensive before. She said, there's no reason for me to do it. She says, yeah, the price is really good, but if I move, I will then, because of the way rentals had gone, this was during a housing boom. She said, to find another place just like this will cost me another, $2 million. So why should I move out of this? All I'm paying is, the only reason she did it is she said, I paid the $100,000, financed the $100,000 so that I could get the apartment, so I could then pay what was the condo fee, which was like $600 a month, which was like $400 a month less than she was paying in rent. Okay? And that's why she did it. She didn't do it because she said, oh, this is going to be worth $1 million in a year. But a year later, there was this boom, and it was worth $1 million. So, you don't hear stories like that in San Francisco, do you?
Hell, not in this podunk town.
You know what the equivalent was in San Francisco? There are certain buildings which, if people look at, Full House would be a good example of it, and they show a row of houses that are called Victorians. And Victorians around the 50s were considered a blight on the landscape, and they were really cheap. Okay, you could get into a Victorian for next to nothing, and then all of a sudden, as the years went on, they became quite the place to have. And now, how much does a Victorian go for out there?
Oh, it'd be millions.
Yeah. I mean, incredible amounts of money. And here's this thing that just makes me sick. My grandparents owned a Victorian. They didn't pay much for it, but it was a Victorian nonetheless. They moved out of it and moved to Marin County. And wow. I'm thinking if they just held on to it, right? You want to hear the greatest real estate story of all time? I think we have enough time to tell you this. This is why Alex would have been a spoiled rich kid if my father had just done what he should have done. My father used to go up, and he was a musician, and he used to play at Cal Neva Lodge all the time, which was up in the North Shore of Lake Tahoe. And this was back in the 30s, okay? And he was offered lakeshore property for something like $500 an acre.
Oh, my God.
And he turned it down, saying, who the hell would want to come up here? Folks, how much that lakeshore property is worth today? I mean, not just millions, probably hundreds of millions of dollars. He could have bought up 20 acres. Could have afforded 20 acres, could have financed 20 acres, and I'd be an absolute rich kid right now.
Oh, my God, yeah.
I wouldn't have to worry about fighting a landlord for rent here. I could just buy the fucking building, But that was my father and his wise business judgment, which is just forget it.
Yeah, that I think runs in both our family. But the Cal Neva Lodge was, that's where the state line crosses through the swimming pool.
That's correct. You know the place. Yes. Once owned by Frank Sinatra for about a week and a half till Sam Giancana came to visit. But that's another story. We've run out of time.
With these real estate battles.
I love Larry Bowles Brown. He makes me talk. Thanks, Larry. See you next week.
Yeah. You need to talk. You've got a lot to say.
Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
And here we are. See, through the magic of TV, here I am, right here. See? If I wasn't here, could I do that? Okay, let me see here. Let me get their Skype lines open. They're still working. Apparently, we haven't been killed by the Skype gods, who would like to kill us, because they don't want us using the kind of Skype we're using right now. But anyway, okay, we're ready to go. So I'm online anytime you want to call and talk to me. I screwed up a little bit at the beginning of the show tonight. You won't notice it. You didn't notice it. But people who watch the rerun will, because we don't have the Gabnet logo really at the beginning with the music and everything. It started with the theme, and, well, yeah, it doesn't matter. And that happens when I take a Xanax, because it makes me forget how to do shit. Isn't that incredible? Oh, boy. Well, anyway. So, I'm here as usual, in my usual depressed state. So, give me a call, and we will talk to you. Get first in. Charlie Wallace is the first guy up. We're waiting for his picture to come through, so I can put him on. Come on. Are you there, Charlie? Yeah. You're there, right?
I think so.
Yeah, you're wiggling around.
I can hear you.
Yeah, you're going around and around and around and around. Oh, there you are. Okay, now I can put you people up here. There we go. Let's see here. Add to group, unknown phone number, it says here. Who is this with the unknown phone number? Hello? Who is it?
Whoever it was left.
Whoever it was left, so I'm going to remove him. I'm going to remove that person as well. And I will not answer that call again, because it simply wastes my time. Hello, everybody. How are you today?
Hey,
Hi.
good evening.
Doing good.
How's your how is your individual weekends? Was it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do anything interesting, anybody?
No.
Phil didn't do anything interesting.
No,
No.
I worked Saturday and slept in Sunday.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it. Somebody, Forbin Colossus wrote on our what do you call it? Our chat room. Alex rarely leaves the apartment, while Marjorie works daily to bring home the bacon. Alex is a caricature of the chubby wife and her moo-moo, consuming bonbons in bed all day. No, I had to write and tell him, no, what I do with most of my day is put out fucking fires, technically, so that we can do a show at night.
Yeah.
But every day there's some kind of technical problem. You know,
I didn't know you wore a muumuu. I thought you wore a bathrobe.
and I wear a caftan.
Okay. Oh, yeah. You're in Harlem.
Yeah, I wear a caftan.
Yeah.
What are caftans?
With Nehru collar.
Yeah, I don't know what they were. All I know is I think the last guy I ever saw wear a caftan was when I met up with the Raymond Burr, and he was really gay, and he was wearing a caftan. Yeah, so that was the last time I ever saw anybody wearing a caftan. But in case you know what a caftan is, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know.
Looks like a muumuu without the stretching material.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, no, I didn't do it. Did I do anything this weekend? What did I do? Nothing.
Hey, when you were talking to Larry earlier,
Yeah.
You said that you hadn't heard anything about the apartment and the suit.
Mm-hmm.
I thought last week or so you were going to have another meeting.
Oh, no, that was a couple of weeks ago. They were supposed to have the mediation. It was called off again. It's going to be the 27th now.
Was that on the apartment?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, the easiest thing that can happen for the apartment building is you guys live there until you're 95 or 100. You die. The other guy says, okay, I'm done. and then they rent the apartment out.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't know.
Because it's going to cost everybody less.
You know, I'm getting to that point where I could die any day now. Okay? And God knows I have people dropping dead around me left and right or close to it. You know, Jack's back in the hospital. My ex-wife's got cancer, terminal cancer. So, you know, I'm only waiting to see what it is that's going to get me. All right?
Oh,
I would just like to solve this problem before that happens. I would like to have like a couple of months of just enjoying the place, you know? But instead, nah, that ain't going to happen.
No.
You know, that's not going to happen.
I think they're just going to try and wait you out.
Well, what do you mean wait us out? In the meantime, they're not getting any rent on the place.
Yeah, but it's cheaper for them not to take rent than it is for them to settle the case or to have to pay damages.
See, we're not suing the landlords.
I understand the other guy is.
The other guy is he's suing the landlord and us. So we're kind of
but the guy that you rented from.
Yeah.
The guy you rented from, he's got a case against the landlord.
I think he's got a good case against the landlord.
He doesn't have any case against you.
No, he has no case against us.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I'm not saying that because I want to win it. I'm just saying there's zero. You know, in fact, I understand our lawyers said that their lawyers said that really the person they're going to have to settle with is me eventually.
Right.
You know, because
so the longer they can put it off, the longer it takes to settle. And if everybody dies before they settle, it goes away.
But do you realize that this apartment is maybe, okay, not maybe, it is the best apartment in the whole building because of the view out our window and because of the size of it.
Doesn't matter.
Broken up.
Yeah.
You know, what the value of that apartment is to the landlord is probably $1,500 a month. So why should he settle for a couple $100,000 when he can just leave you in it and lose $1,500 a month?
I guess, you know, I mean,
it just makes more sense for him to leave you in it, let you, you know, skate on the $1,500, and nobody pays anybody.
Well, all I know is it's not our case to win or lose. We got to wait for these two people to stop fighting with each other and solve the problem. And then we jump in and take whatever money's there. You know, that's really what it's all about. It's just, you know, I'll tell you something. People go, well, it's great. You're not paying any rent on this big, huge apartment. Hey, you haven't for the last, I guess it's going on 7 years maybe?
No, I think it's 5.
Oh, no, it's 6. I think it's going on 6. And I go.
Did it start before you were doing the GabNet thing?
It started. I'll tell you when it started. We moved in. When did we move in here? God, let me go look. I'll tell you.
I think the GabNet thing's around 5 years.
I'll tell you
because you lived on Houston before that.
No, but I'll tell you.
That's what it was, Houston. Yeah.
No, but we were living here for almost 3 years. Hold on a second.
But you were paying rent.
I'm going to go to my mail and let me look at my legal, and then let me look at the first thing, the first date, 2014. Okay,
that's 5 years. Yeah.
That's 5 years.
5 years.
That was 5 years. Well, it was 4 years in. Well, let me see here. Wait a minute. 5 years, but that was in early 2014. It was in March.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Then you paid money illegally.
Well, more than 5.
Or
you paid money to the other guy for a while, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
And the other guy was illegally taking it because he wasn't supposed to be subletting, right?
That's his claim to fame. You know.
Yeah. So, you know, actually, you know, what he did was not that uncommon in Harlem.
In New York.
In Harlem. Because you know who got bumped?
Yeah, you were saying, what's his name?
Charlie Ramble.
A congressman.
What you can't do is you can't rent an apartment and then not live there and then sublet it all the time. Okay?
And the landlord has to know that you're doing it.
Yeah. But the thing is that Charlie Rangel was renting 4 apartments. And then,
well, you said that your perspective, your landlord, the one you thought was your landlord, had been doing it for 8 years.
Had been doing it actually
so
prior to us.
obviously
Prior to us, he'd been doing it for 3 years.
Oh,
And you
okay.
busted him.
And then
Somehow you busted him.
And then no, well, what happened was the
Well,
landlord.
that's 6 years because you paid for 3. There was somebody in there for 3, so he had his scam going for 6 years before he got caught.
Yeah. But you know, I mean, everybody here. It seems like it was a common scam here in Harlem. That's why I'm saying Charlie Ramble had 4 apartments that he was doing this with. Okay,
4 that you know of. Hey, you know,
well, that's a paper knew of.
How did the landlord how did they find out that it was being sublet?
Well, they had to know that I was living here because the super helped us move in. And the super is the on-site de facto representative of the landlord.
But if they didn't know what your rent was, and he didn't tell them that he was.
Oh, they didn't know that. They didn't know that part of it. But I don't know what was going on. All I know is what he did was terribly illegal. I'm
just wondering how he got caught.
Look, he got caught because the landlord eventually sent him a notification saying, unless you get the people out of there who are living there, we're going to throw you out. So then,
well, that's how he got caught.
That's how he got caught. And I think the reason they did it is they saw that they could probably get this apartment and raise the rent on it and all that.
And separate it into other apartments.
Well,
I think that's what they'd have to do to raise the rent.
They have some apartments in this building that, through destabilization, are being rented for anywhere from $7,000 to $8,000 a month.
And you don't even have Google. You don't even have Amazon because of AOC.
What do you mean I don't have Amazon? What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Well, and what's her name? Cortez. She made it so uncomfortable for Amazon to open up their headquarters in New York.
No, she believe me, AOC had nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with it.
She was waving her arms.
No, she may have been waving her arms, but she had nothing to do with it. Am I right, Jeff?
According to de Blasio and Cuomo, they think she did.
She had nothing to do with it. She had nothing to do with it. It was basically people like myself and other members of the community complaining and making big complaints. What happened was everybody complained, and then Amazon said, well, if you don't want us here, we're leaving. Nobody forced them out. There was no action taken to force them out. They just decided to leave town. Well, de Blasio has said you're a bunch of cowards for giving up so easy.
Yeah.
And now they're pissed because they didn't want them, but now they're pissed because they thought better.
Well, no, I don't.
They thought they could hold them up.
I didn't want them, and I still don't want them. I think that it to begin with, I think
you got yours.
Well, I mean, the idea is let's spread the wealth around. You know, New York City has enough businesses here as it is already. We don't need Amazon too, but Detroit could use it. Cincinnati could use it. A lot of other cities that are not prospering at the present time could use an infusion of that kind of thing. And so the fact that Amazon was just going to put it in New York, big fucking whoop. I mean, how many big major corporations do we have here already? Do we need another one?
And they were going to put it on Long Island, and I think
they weren't going to put they weren't going to put it on Long Island. They were going to put it in Long Island City.
That's Queens, yeah.
That's Queens.
Yeah.
Where's
Queens?
Wait a minute, Jeff?
Factory.
What?
It used to be an old factory.
Yeah.
And the building, I don't know what the building was being used at the time.
It would congest a lot because it's not, everything's so tight in New York, Like it's out here in New Jersey, but we have
trains and transportation and all kinds of crap.
Yeah, well, I mean, where would, if let's say you had, what was it, how many jobs was it going to be?
I thought it was 25,000.
Something like 25,000 jobs. You have 25,000 people every day going into Long Island City, and where are they going to live? They can't afford to live in New York City on what Amazon's going to pay them. They can't even afford.
The average was what, 150 grand?
No. No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that was the deal.
No. They
job.
said some people would make upwards to 150,000 a year, but that's an executive.
Some
When you're talking
people,
about
like
somebody
some
working in the warehouse, you kidding me? They're going to pay him minimum wage. That's what they're doing everywhere else. Why should they pay more in New York? You know. So 35,000, 40,000 a year. They're going to live in New York City? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
In fact, even if they paid them each 150,000, they probably couldn't afford to live in New York City.
Well, now they can live in Tony's basement. He's living upstairs now.
Yeah. But you know, I mean, all I'm saying is that I think that.
And that's a hard place to get.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you know, I mean, my question is, what? You know, why should we have this infusion of people? We don't need it. We did
There's
not
too many
need
people in New York as it is. Yeah.
Get off my grass.
I mean, you don't know. We have a big complex downtown that Google has. You know, that's enough
Is
of a
that
problem.
that Hudson something?
No.
What's that thing they just built?
Well,
Hudson
that's Hudson, whatever. I can't remember what the
stores.
No, but they built that beautiful structure. That's it's like a work of art. The vessel. Yeah.
Oh, I saw that. It's beautiful, right?
That's what they call Trump.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed.
Yeah, no, I'm very impressed. I want to go down
like
and
that.
see it. Marjorie went down to see it the other day, but
she?
She couldn't go. She couldn't climb up it for two reasons.
Right.
Number one, her knee, you know, and secondly, there were so many people waiting to go up that the line stretched for a mile.
Is it free, Alex?
Like the Eiffel
Yeah,
Tower.
it's free.
Huh?
It's free.
You're kidding me. Something in New York they don't charge to do.
That's right.
That's crazy.
They charge you to get out.
No wonder why there's so many people there.
I'll tell you what Marjorie got us though for April. Oddly enough, tickets to Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, you're finally going to see it.
Which is the
right?
hardest ticket in town to get, but she got a, what do they call it, an obstructed seat, but it's not really obstructed. The only thing is there's a musician off to the side, and you're going to be near
there was
him.
a pole in front
Hey,
of you.
I thought that the Kill the Mockingbird, I read somewhere that there was a number of theaters around the country, they had to close it and refund.
No, that
people's
was
tickets.
small theater groups who did To Kill a Mockingbird. And there was this isn't the version that's on Broadway. This is not the Aaron Sorkin version. This was somebody wrote the play version of it, and it's been around for a long time. And the people who are producing it said, we have to protect our turf. You know, we have to protect our rights. And so they sent out a cease and desist order to all these small theater groups. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes, Charlene.
I remember you said you've never read To Kill a Mockingbird.
No, I didn't say I never read it. I never read it, but I never saw the movie either.
With Gregory Peck, you never seen
But I
it.
finally did.
Oh, you did. Okay.
And what a fucking disappointment. I mean, everybody's telling me, "Oh, this is the greatest movie ever made." You've never seen To Kill a Mockingbird? So I went, I watched it, and I said, "It's a good movie. Nothing
You're
wrong
not a
with
Gregory
it."
Peck fan?
And you've never seen Glengarry Glen Ross, one of my favorite movies.
I'm fine with I've seen the first 15 minutes of Glengarry Glen Ross. That's as far as I got. But anyway, the point is that I was watching. So I watched To Kill a Mockingbird after years of everybody, you know, just raising my expectations that this is the greatest movie ever made. And it's okay. It's it's what a 50s, 60s movie, and it's okay, you know. And I like.
Well, it's dated now. I think it's dated now, maybe, but.
Well, you know, it's a sweet. It's a sweet film with a nice message and things like that. But you know, I can think of better films from that time. For instance, I think if you want to talk about great movies from the 50s, like I would rather watch A Face in the Crowd and what it has to say than To Kill a Mockingbird. You know.
Well, who's in that and who directed that?
Well, that starred, when I tell you who it starred, you're going to go, oh my God, really? Andy Griffith.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he was very good.
That down
He
again.
was incredible. He was incredible. And
God, I haven't seen that in a zillion years.
if you go see A Face in the Crowd, folks, you just wonder how he ever went from that to Andy of Mayberry.
Yeah.
Is that
You
a
know,
character?
because he plays the biggest fucking asshole ever.
Yeah.
Okay, the meanest son of a bitch. And it was, I think it was Walter Matthau's first movie.
Wow.
Or one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Patricia Neal is in it. It's a great film. Great film. I mean, if I want to tell people, you want to go see a cautionary tale, you want to go see a film with a message, A Face in the Crowd is the film. And it's as applicable
So why isn't it
today.
something that I've never seen? Like, it's not a Turner Classic
Oh,
movie.
sure it
It's-
is. Sure
It
it
is,
is.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll keep
It
an eye on
plays.
it.
Yeah.
You've missed it. It's
You know,
very good.
Yeah, and it's a cautionary tale, which
Black and white or color?
black and white, which
It's black and white, yeah.
it's such a cautionary tale that it applies to today. I mean, it's about a guy who
It really stands up.
who uses the media and becomes a major force in politics and everything else, and it starts to run away with him. You know, he had a
Well, that
mean
sounds like
streak.
Trump.
No, it sounds like
that-
Nunez. You know, what's
Nunez.
happening is the guy from California who was on the Judiciary Committee.
Yeah, the prick.
Well, that's what he was made out to be by the media.
Yes.
But he's suing Twitter right now.
I know. I have it.
And
here.
and every 2 weeks he's going to sue another group.
You know why?
He hasn't.
You know why? Because Nunez is the asshole they say he is.
Well, we'll see.
You know,
but
to begin with, he cannot win that suit.
Well, if they,
There is
it
no way
depends
he
on
is.
how they
No,
determine
he's
that they're going
making
to defend themselves.
He's making a statement by suing, but he cannot win, and the reason is that the further up you are in the public eye, the less you can take action against people for things they say. As an example, I can say
his
right
claim to fame.
now that I heard that Donald Trump, when he was 25 years old, raped a baby.
Yeah.
Okay, and Donald Trump can't
Grabbed her by the pussy.
Yeah, Donald Trump can't sue me, but on the other hand, he could say that I'm a pederast, and I can't sue him. Okay.
Well, yeah.
And
because
that's
he's
and so
president.
the lower on the pecking order, a little easier it is for you to do it. But Nunez, as a senator, has a very difficult time of suing anybody
He
for
claims-
anything.
Yeah, but he claims that he received threats and that there were bots or these fake accounts that were creating all of these threats, and that they
Here's what he said. Let me
shadow something him.
Devin Nunez, representing San Joaquin Valley and Tulare and Fresno, is alleging that Twitter and the anonymous creators of the parody accounts, get the word parody, which, by the way, is protected by the Constitution.
One of them was Nunez's mother.
It's called Devin Nunez's mom and
Yeah.
Devin Nunez's cow are guilty of defaming him.
Right.
The complaint Nunez filed this week seeks at least $250 million in damages. Media Post quotes the complaint as stating that Twitter allowed and allows its platform to serve as a portal of defamation in order to undermine public confidence in plaintiff and to benefit his opponents and opponents of the Republican Party. That's bullshit. He would never win that and he probably won't even get that past the exploratory stages. You know, he's wasting his time, but he's doing it because he just wants he wants to complain.
Well, if they claim they're a news outlet, then they can have a defense.
They're not.
But if they claim they're a private company,
they're claiming they're a parody site.
Yes,
and parody is protected by the Constitution. And the guy who made that happen was my friend Al Goldstein, who in a case years ago where he had the Pillsbury Doughboy fucking the Pillsbury Dough girl in an oven with the inscription, "Nothing says lovin' like something from the oven," that case was thrown out because of parody. And the guy who actually made parody allowable was Larry Flint, who took it all the way to the Supreme Court because Jerry Falwell sued him for saying he, you know, it was one of these ads. You remember, like a Doers ad or whatever, and it was what's that noise?
Oh, sorry, it's me. Sorry.
He remembers Jerry Falwell remembers his first time, and then it was all about him fucking his mother. And this went to the Supreme Court, and Larry prevailed. He made it law that parody is protected by the Constitution.
Because it's a parody, so nobody's going to take it
And so in this
seriously.
particular case, they describe these two sites as parody accounts. Okay?
He had a feud with him, right, Jerry Falwell?
Oh,
didn't he? I saw that movie.
But Larry won, and he prevailed in that particular case.
Good for him, freedom of speech, right?
Yeah, and he allowed that allowed me and anybody else who does parody to do what we want to do without fear of getting sued.
Be able to do Trump, right?
Well, I mean, he's a public figure and he is president of the United States. But you know, if you wanted to do a parody of somebody.
Remember that guy who did all those parody songs, Ray Stevens?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've got a whole bunch of his albums.
Yeah, but those weren't parodies.
Those weren't parodies? I thought they were takeoffs on songs.
Those weren't parodies, no. Ray Stevens wrote songs that were funny.
They were funny, yeah.
He did not write parodies.
The other guy, Weird Al.
Weird Al writes parodies.
Weird Al Yankovic writes parodies. There is, however, a limit to parodies. You have to go out and get, if you're doing a song, you have to go out and get the permission of the person the song you're parodying from the composer to use it, because obviously you're going to change the words to his melody.
Yeah, you're going to keep.
And so you have to get his permission. And so therefore, I mean, I know that because I turned out an album years ago with Pat Sky called Songs That Made America Famous, and we did Okie from Muskogee. Okie from Muskogee. And we called it I'm something from something. I can't remember what it was called now. And we used almost the same. We used the same melody, and they wouldn't let it. Oh no, I know what it was. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Was it what's his name who did Okie from Muskogee, or was it the other song we did, which was a takeoff on Mr. Bojangles? I think it was the one. Either one. What we did is we changed the melody to a folk song that sounded just like it. You know, with a few note changes, but you have to get the permission of the person you're doing the parody.
Was Mr. Bojangles
Jerry Jeff Walker?
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Sammy
Dylan
Davis
did it.
covered it, right?
Well, ours was called. No, I think it was the Okie from Muskogee. The Okie from Muskogee. We had to change the melody to there was a song in folk music called Something Bird, and we used that as the melody, and you can't really tell it is an Okie from Muskogee. But no, we did. Because we did a thing on to Bojangles, which was called Mr. Abramovitz. I knew a man named Abramovitz. He make for you worn-out shoes, dirty pants. That cheap old Jew. That was the song. So
there was a bunch of old Jewish guys that had a comedy album. I can't remember their names.
Every comedy album is a Jewish comedy album. Come on. You kidding me?
This played off the fact that they were old Jewish guys.
But anyway, that's. By the way, I'm letting you on, Doug.
I recognized him too.
I appreciate it. And actually, when I called up and you started talking about Mr. Bojangles, I forgot what I was calling up about. So I am just going to keep quiet and try to remember what I was originally calling you about. So. If that's okay with you,
sure.
If you cut me off, that's fine.
If you're not, well, if you're too drunk tonight, I'll hang up on you. Anyway, but all I'm saying is Nunez is going to have a very hard time suing. I mean, he's just blown smoke out his own ass, and he's a prick. you know, he has a reputation. Listen, he's one of these guys that's not even liked by fellow congressmen who are Republicans. They can't stand him.
Well, yeah, they did turn on him, but you know the media did a good job of blasting him. And
well, I mean, he went off when he shouldn't have. He was the head of a committee, and he ran off to tell Trump privately what was going on in the committee, and that's considered a no-no.
Well, supposedly he said that there was no proof that or that they didn't find anything that Trump had done.
Well, no, but he
wrong.
wasn't supposed to tell him.
Yeah, but
that.
they didn't interview anybody.
They weren't supposed to tell him that.
Oh,
you know, he wasn't supposed to. So anyway, Nunez is a fucking asshole. But anyway, he is suing them. And his complaint lists several examples of tweets he finds objectionable. One by Devin Nunes' mom reads, "At Devin Nunes, your district is looking for you. Are you trying to obstruct the federal investigation again? You come home right this instant and no more Minecraft." I guess it's his mother supposedly speaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, you can say stuff like that. He's rife for any comment like that. Otherwise, he could sue me for saying Devin Nunes is an asshole.
Expect to be served.
Probably expect to be served. Exactly. So, you know, that's.
You know, I thought he was going to go after Facebook next, but maybe Gabnet.
Yeah. Well, I could stand it. You know, I need the publicity.
You got Mr. Turtle.
And I got Mr. Turtle.
Alex, you would prevail too. So
yeah,
it's how much justice can you afford?
How much justice can I afford? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I had the echo on, say, by accident.
Oh, very nice.
I don't have anything to resume.
What?
Know what you'd like to play.
You know something? I got to get rid of echo in this room.
That's Alexa.
Alexa.
What did she say?
Alexa. She doesn't respond to Alexa because I changed it from echo from Alexa to echo. I have to whisper that because
echo. Call President Trump.
No, I've got my earphones on. They can't. She can't hear it. But anyway, because my name is Alex, so we were afraid that every time somebody said Alex, she would chime in. But every now and then, she's got like Alzheimer's or something. She just starts babbling incoherently. And I can't figure out why.
I love that.
You know, so anyway, listen. You know, we talk about all these mergers and stuff that have been happening lately, and I think they're all kind of sad. I mean, for instance, AT&T has bought up Warner's. What was Time Warner, basically.
It's like now Spectrum, I believe.
No. You're absolutely wrong. That's the cable company. We're not talking about the cable company. What did I say? I said Time Warner. Time Warner owns Warner Films, Warner Books, several record labels, and whatever. But what they're doing in the process, they're going to fire like 20,000 people.
Wow.
Always.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like there's a new Fox network, so maybe there's a place for them to go. What's his name? Who was the...
what does the new Fox network have to do with this, Phil? I'm not talking about that.
Well, you said, you know, they're going to fire a bunch of people. Murdoch.
Well, they're also going to own CNN. They're going to own HBO. They're going to own Cinemax. You know, I mean, they what is it that Disney isn't? Oh, that's AT&T that's bought that up. Disney has bought up most of Fox, except for Fox News. But they bought FX and they bought the movie company, and they bought the TV production arm. And Murdoch is keeping the news company under a let's see, it has a new name, I think.
Right.
A standalone entity, Fox Corp. It's called.
They just hired two interesting people.
Yes.
Donna Brazil
can I tell the story?
Oh, sure.
Jesus. Well, Donna Brazil has gotten a job over there because she was fired from CNN because it turned out that she gave Hillary Clinton the questions that were going to be asked in the debate, and they felt that that was wrong, and it was. Yeah. It was definitely wrong. So where do you go if nobody else wants you? You go to Fox. And so she's gone over to Fox, but that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about the fact they've started Fox Corp, and they began trading today and announced new members of their board of directors.
Right.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, it's Paul.
There you go, ruining my story again.
Oh, okay.
It's Paul.
I only said the first name.
It's Paul Ryan is on the board of directors of the new Fox Corp.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Well, he needed a job.
Well, no, he didn't need a job. He could have run again and still had one, but he decided not to because he probably knew he could go to some place like Fox Corp and make a hell of a lot more money.
Yeah, he's probably making millions.
Like Jason Shadow's there.
Other new directors include Ann Dias, Chase Carey, Ronald A. Hernandez. The previously announced board members include Rupert Murdoch, Lachlan Murdoch, who will run Fox Corp, and Jacques Nasser, rather. Carey, CEO of Formula One Racing Circuit, is a longtime Murdoch associate who held a senior-level executive post at News Corp. See, it's Fox Corp now instead of News Corp. So, anyway, that's so we have all these we have these mergers happening with media companies, and you're probably wondering why. Well, to begin with, Disney is going to take all of this and fold it into their new Disney channel, their Disney, whatever they're going to call it. And so what they'll have is all the shows from Fox they can put on there. They will have all the movies from 20th Century Fox that they can put on there. I mean, they've got all the Marvel films, all the Disney films, all the Pixar films. I mean, think of what they own now.
Mickey Mouse can do the news.
I mean, this has really become, dare I say it, a monopoly. And
you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yes, Charlene.
You know, I watch. I wanted to say Regis, not Regis. What's her name again? The skinny one, Kelly Ripa, and the other guy from
Brian
Idol.
Seacrest.
Yeah, it's a vapid show. But they're always talking about, like on ABC, how they're owned by Disney all the time. And then I heard on the news or something, Chris Christie works for them, ABC.
Well,
like he works there.
Disney has acquired, as I say, 20th Century Fox. They own that whole panoply. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, panoply.
Of outfits, and the reason they're buying these things up is so that they can use them in their various and sundry things. And in the case of AT&T, they're buying it up. They're buying up what is HBO, Warner's, and all of that, so they can have all that material.
A megalopoly.
All they're doing is they're all saying, "Hey, let's be the next Netflix," but they can't be because they're the old AT&T. You know,
yeah,
they're
Baby
the
Bells.
old Disney.
I had a stock job, and we used to call it the Baby Bells so people older would understand, where it came from. AT&T,
Well, you try to see how much you can buy here, and what they're buying is they're buying not the company so much as the intellectual property of those.
Now, wasn't Sony buying up a bunch of that stuff?
No, Sony can't afford to buy shit anymore.
Yeah.
Hey, can I say something good about Disney, though?
What?
Well, recently you had that guy in New York who was making a big deal that he got kicked out of a bar because he had like a MAGA hat on. And if you do some research on that guy, you see this guy's an instigator. He's just a pain in the ass. He's like the guy that.
What's the point you're making? Make your point. Make your point.
the point is Disney told this guy you can't, because he pulled that stunt one time before. They told him you can't do that anymore, and then you try to do it again. It's like you're banned. So
banned from what?
Coming to Disney anymore and being obnoxious and asshole.
Oh, was he wearing the hat in the park?
No, he was flashing a banner and like waving, flashing a banner. This was the same guy that went like when the end of the the performance of Frozen, when they're all taking the bow, and he like ran up to the front and like flashed this like big banner saying Trump 2020, and a performer grabbed it out of his hand and he was, like acting like all snowflake, like
so,
how dare you do that for me?
So are you saying it's a bad thing they threw him out?
No, I say it's a great thing. Actually, I got it like on a little Facebook battle with this guy.
Good for you.
The guy's a retard. So anyway, yeah. So had nothing to do that day.
It must have been a battle of the wits going on there. I wouldn't want to be in. I wouldn't want to be in on that pissing match, because most of the pissing is taking place in your pants. Anyway,
they probably did it on your Facebook page.
Probably.
Probably so.
Anyway, so let me see here. What else is happening? Oh yeah, Fox hired. Who's
that executive that was having an affair it wasn't CBS? That is a Japanese guy, has a Japanese name, Takahashi or something. A big executive in one of the media companies. I thought it was.
I think it was. He was at. Was he at? I think it was at Warner's, and they dumped him.
Yeah, he had to step down.
But that has to do with AT&T. Dumping.
Yeah, wasn't the claim was that he was having an affair with a woman, and she got parts because of the favors. He claims it's consensual. Also being married, he stepped down.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who the name of that person is.
It was like somewhere. Takahashi or something.
I'm trying to remember who he is. But anyway,
it's another guy at the top.
It's all part of the purging that's going on there. I mean, they're firing. What did they say? What company was it that they bought? I think they said that Fox, they figure in the next year, Fox will only release 5 movies. Because Disney doesn't care whether Fox produces movies or not anymore. They're just going to let them produce enough movies so the name is out there. So you can say
the 20th Century Fox.
Yeah, this company, which, God, I mean, I've known the 20th Century Fox logo ever since I was a kid, ever since I was born. It was here before I was born. That it's pretty much a has-been. And that if Disney has no desire, I mean, I don't know, who knows what they're going to do with FX? Who knows? FX is a terrific channel doing some terrific work, but are they going to keep hands off? Or are they going to change all the players at that network? It's not. The whole thing is not pleasant, and I just think allowing all these companies to merge and to combine is bad. It's a very bad thing, and it's
a megalopoly.
And so you're going to wind up having most media owned by like 3 companies. That's the way it's going.
It's Warner Brothers.
Yeah. What?
Warner Brothers.
That's what
Shihara.
That's what I said. It was over at Warner Brothers.
Who's Charlotte Kirk? That's the gal he had an affair with. She's in.
I have no idea. I have no idea. Well, let's talk about something here that I'm sure Phil will not want to talk about. And that's the fact that your president, over the weekend, issued 50, count them, 50
unbelievable
tweets. Now, if I didn't know the guy was a drinker, I'd think he was drunk. All right? But
Drunk tweeting.
but it may not be that he's drunk, but it could be the man is just losing his fucking mind.
Oh, George Conway says that.
He went after
That's right.
George Conway, but then again, George Conway has gone after him, and he can't keep his mouth shut when anybody goes after him, you know.
Hey, you can't see me, but I got my hand raised, so whenever you want to call me, I want to tell you a story about Trump, what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not.
Well, I mean, what is it? Let's get it out of the way now so we don't have to waste
Okay, I live in Wilmington. For a while there, they were doing like a lot of movies in Wilmington, and I just ran into this guy who said that he knew Trump and didn't know him very well, but he filmed like The Apprentice, and he just had an encounter where he was like in the elevator with him, and he asked him what his favorite film was. I can't remember. I think it's Philadelphia, but I can't say for sure. And the guy says, like, oh, I'm surprised you like that film and all that. And he was like, well, I'm surprised that the actor, that was in that movie played a fag.
Are you going to get to the gist of the story here?
I was just telling you that.
Well, no, you're going on
Trump was saying
forever.
that, this actor was a fag, and I'm playing a fag, and he get like all sorts of ladies and all that. Why was he playing that part? So
what? I don't even know what you're talking about, Doug.
Doug, you may want to quit while you're ahead.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Let me say it again.
No, I don't want you to say it again because it made no sense the first time.
It does if you use the reverb.
Wait a minute. Go oops. Wait a minute. Did I lose everybody? Wait a minute. Let me see here. Are you all there? I lost you all. Oh, boy. What did I do? I pushed something, and everything went south. Okay? All right. Well, I will just have to call everybody back, I guess. I don't know. They're going to have to call me. I don't know what happened. I pushed something, and, well, I know what I can do. Let me see here. I bet I can call them. I can. There we go.
Okay. Alex is back.
Okay, there we go. I just figured out how to get you back. I don't know what happened. Oh, gee. I think we lost Doug. I think we lost Doug.
Yeah, we were thinking that Doug killed you off.
Yeah, I don't.
No, I thought that was it.
That was me. I pushed a button here, but I found a way to get you back. I simply went to the group, and there you were. You were all still talking to each other, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that was it, Alex, that you were going to say, that's it, no more, and I'm off, that's it.
Well, I figured it was a good way to get rid of him.
Yeah, he had. I think sound like he was having a few.
Yeah, he sounded. Yeah, don't call us drunk anymore, huh? Okay.
Yeah, because he's a nice guy and he's actually very intelligent.
I don't think he's a nice guy because he makes my life a living hell. Okay, so if he had more respect for me, I'd say fine, but Anyway, let me get back to these tweets before we were so rudely interrupted by a talk of Trump calling somebody a fag. I don't know what that story was about.
Well, he was really drunk, yeah.
I think the movie Philadelphia had something to do with lawyers representing gay people or something to that effect.
Yeah, it was about age.
It was about age, yeah.
That's what he was trying to say, because I couldn't figure out what he was talking about either.
Well, he was trying to make a connection between AIDS and Trump, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get to these. Let's look at these tweets here.
Yeah. That was amazing, yeah.
Let me see here. Must stay strong and fight back with vigor. Stop working so hard on being politically correct, which will only bring you down, and continue to fight for our country. The losers all want what you have. Don't give it to them. Be strong and prosper. Be weak and die. Stay true. What's he doing? Talking to himself?
Yes, right.
It could be one of those parody sites.
No.
He's a blithering idiot.
This is all from the real Donald Trump. were Fox News weekend anchors Alfel Neville and Leland Vitter trained by CNN prior to their ratings collapse? In any event, that's where they should be working along with their lowest-rated anchor, Shepard Smith. Lowest-rated anchor? I thought he was one of their biggest-rated anchors. By the way, you know who suddenly disappeared from CNN this weekend?
No.
And looks like she's gone. Janine Pirro.
2-week suspension.
Some outrageous things.
I would be right back.
Wait a minute. It isn't a 2-week suspension, Phil, because Fox would not say why she wasn't there.
She was insulting some Muslim person.
They apparently
was taken out of context, but
hajib or something she said, and it's actually pronounced like hijab or something.
So what?
Hijab.
And the blonde one from New Jersey, what's her name again? The annoying one. She said some outrageous things too over the weekend. What's her name again? What is her? Yeah. Oh, her and her husband.
You have to go take.
You're the blonde one from New Jersey.
Really? I know. Yeah, but no, I'm not like her though. She is politically horrible. I mean, I can't remember her name. And what is her position with Trump? They keep her out of the.
So you're going to go do something, Phil, and not listen to the rest of these and defend them?
No, I heard my dog yapping.
So it was your dog.
Yeah, it was my dog barking. So I just wanted to check and see why. I'll be right back.
Oh, here we go. This is a part of his obsession with late night comedy. Oh, there goes Phil.
Yeah, he's bullied again. And he's talking about an SNL from, it was a rerun.
It's truly incredible that shows like Saturday Night Live, not funny, no talent. You know, he always has to do that, you know. Lousy ratings, no talent. He called Kellyanne Conway's husband. Oh, no, he called Joe Biden a man of little intelligence.
Oh, God. You're going to talk, I'm sorry, Alex, but he insulted John McCain again.
Well, wait a minute. Well, don't jump ahead of me on this.
Sorry.
It's truly, that's Phil's job. It's truly incredible that shows like not funny, blah, 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 can spend all of the time knocking the same person, me, over and over without so much of a mention of the other side. What is the other side? One side that they side on is what's funny. And you're hilarious, okay? Like an advertisement without consequences. Same with late night shows. These are ramblings. These aren't coherent statements. Should Federal Election Commission and/or FCC look into this? There must be collusion with the Democrats and, of course, Russia. The one-sided media coverage, most of it fake news. Hard to believe I won and am winning. Approval rating 52%, 93% with Republicans. Sorry, MAGA. The Democrats have done in trying to steal a presidential election. First at the ballot box. Well, that's where you win them, isn't it? Yeah. And after that failed, with an insurance policy, the biggest scandal in the history of our country. Boy, he is just absolutely incoherent. I mean,
there was something like 89 tweets or something.
No, it was 50. It was 50, they say.
50, okay.
Okay, spreading the fake and totally discredited dossier is unfortunately a very dark stain against John McCain. Ken Starr, former independent counsel, he had far worse stains than this, including thumbs down on repeal and replace after years of campaigning to repeal and replace. Then there's another one on John McCain. So it is indeed just proven in court papers, last in his class, Annapolis, John McCain, that sent the fake dossier to the FBI and media, hoping to have it printed before the election. He and the Dems working together failed as usual. Even the fake news refused this garbage. To begin with,
he was fifth to the last.
Yes, he was fifth to the last, and also he's wrong. McCain did not release the dossier, and he didn't release it to the media. He released it to the FBI,
and the FBI
and he did it post-election, not during the election. So your president is just lying through his fucking teeth.
But they're saying that the reason they were able to get the FISA warrants, and that's what Nunez was working on, was due to this dossier. So it was probably around prior to the election because they got the FISA warrants prior to the election.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is the dossier wasn't even released till after the election.
To the public.
It wasn't released to the FBI either.
Well, then how did they get the FISA warrants if it wasn't released
I
prior
have no
to the
idea,
election?
but it wasn't released prior to the election.
Well, they are saying that the probable cause for the FISA warrant was
Phil,
the dossier.
Phil, I saw the proof on television. They had a timeline, and there was no. He's wrong. He couldn't have possibly done it prior to the election.
Well, I don't know how they got the FISA warrants if they were based on
what
the
FISA
dossier.
warrants? The FISA warrants on what?
To wiretap Trump in Trump Tower.
No, that was a completely different deal altogether, and they were wiretapping him not because they were trying to find out what Trump was doing, but to find out if somebody was doing something that would jeopardize him.
I understand, but
yes,
because
but that had nothing. That had nothing to do with the dossier. Phil, it had nothing to do with the dossier, and the dossier was not handed over. No. Oh, Phil, don't try to.
You don't want fake news. How about fabricated?
Much better.
The dossier was turned over to the FBI post-election. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then he goes, "Make America Great Again." Well, that's certainly the most rational tweet he's had. Spreading the fake, totally discredited dossier is unfortunately a very dark stain against McCain. I just read that one. Those were some of the meanderings, the ramblings, the craziness that was Donald J. Trump. Yes, Charlene.
Like when I heard he disparaged McCain somehow or something again, I had to find out what he tweeted about because I was like, here we go again. The man passed away, for God's sake, and he's still, like beating a dead horse about that. Like, can't he leave somebody alone that's like resting in peace now,
Well, why don't we ask that?
Strawberries.
Why don't we ask that of Phil? I mean, don't you find it a little uncomfortable that your president was just railing against a dead guy? Who was, by the way, a beloved dead guy?
Yeah.
He's beloved now that he's dead. There isn't a live Republican that the Democrats ever beloved.
They like John McCain.
Yeah.
I was one of those that went, in spite of the fact that he's a Republican, and I don't agree with everything he said, I found that I always said that McCain was a very principled man.
I agree.
And so how can you feel comfortable with your president, the man you like, disparaging John McCain like that? He's dead. Forget it. He's obsessed with John McCain.
Well, I guess he feels that he was wronged by John McCain.
And he put him down enough while he was being wronged. Okay, he's dead, Phil.
Leave him alone.
Dead.
Yeah.
Nobody said that Trump has a lot of class. And I don't like the things that he does on Twitter. I like the things that he does. For the country.
Like what?
Not what he says.
All the lies he makes, like the things he says he's going to do that he doesn't do?
But he's done more of the things that he said he would do than any other president.
Not really. He
has
said,
done
for
in 2
instance, that he
years.
wasn't going to touch Medicare or Medicaid, and look what he's doing. Look what he's doing.
That could just be a bargaining chip. That's the way.
But that isn't a bargaining chip.
If you look at the way
he said he would never
I understand.
go after.
But if you look at the way he bargains, whether it's with North Korea or
how's
anything
that
else,
going for him?
Hmm?
How's that going for him?
It's a beginning, but
No. It's
But
all
if you look at the way he bargains,
It's
he does
all.
this.
Oh, it's
That's
all.
his
Phil.
tactic.
Phil. It's all over with North Korea.
No, it isn't. But that's his tactic. What his tactic is to push
because
out.
he's using the same tactics he used as a businessman.
Yeah, it looks that way.
Then that means we're going to go bankrupt.
Yep.
Oh,
Right.
He was
maybe he's gone bankrupt enough to
Knows how
this
to go
time.
bankrupt.
Okay. Yeah. Well, now we're morally bankrupt with this
Well,
government.
you know, we're having good GDP. He's doing a good job. And you know what? 34% of Latinos give him a positive approval rating.
Well, those are stupid Latinos. Yes, Jeff.
34%.
That's not a lot, Phil. It's only 34 fucking percent. It's not a majority.
It doesn't have to be to put him over the top.
Oh God.
I happened to go see my accountant this week.
How much you gonna owe?
70% increase compared to the previous year, which are basically the same retirement world that I live in, and the same amount of investments that we had. Something, Mr. Trump is not helping. I'm not becoming the millionaire that.
My account.
Well, he's only doing what you guys want. He's redistributing the wealth. He's taking it from you guys and he's giving it to the Republicans.
The fact is, Phil, that tax
that's true.
That tax plan has fucked over a lot of average Americans. You know, yes, Charlene.
When Jeff started talking about his accountant and everything, I took my taxes over, my forms and everything, like to drop off with the information. And when I started talking politics, he was laughing. But you know, I want to see what's going to happen because I'm not finished yet. To see, I'm really scared I'm not getting anything back because I've heard from people that, you know, they made out a little bit last year, but that's what they said was going to happen. And you know, I asked him if that was going to happen, and he didn't. You know, he didn't say. But I'm just waiting until it's done because I'm hoping that I'm wrong because I could use some money back. You know. Well,
chances are you're not going to get money back. Chances are you're going to wind up paying. And here's the problem. The problem is that a lot of things that you were able to take off before you can't take off now.
That's right.
And the tax breaks that he gave aren't tax breaks that will then affect the bottom line of what you have to pay. You know, the only thing where Marjorie and I are benefited by is that it went from whatever the
30-something%,
whatever the what do you call it? The minimum wage for on taxes or taxable income with us went up to now it's $26,000. That may save us some money, but most people, he says, most of his clients, people who have stocks and a lot of stuff, okay, he said are going to be really hurt this year. And he said it's so much. He said it's so much more complicated now.
I thought they lowered the percentage on what is it? The type of tax you get on stock.
Phil, they did that. They did that, but they also took away a lot of deductions. They took away a lot of stuff you could take off that you can't take off now.
I was like, can my husband take off the welding rods? Can you take off my mileage because I'm a 1099 vendor? And you know.
Charlene, Trump was just keeping his promise, and he said, your husband's Mexican, right?
Yeah.
And he said the Mexicans would pay for the wall.
Oh, he is paying. Funny joke there, Phil.
All right.
I got to give you that one. Funny.
Yeah. But I mean, you know,
the nose for that wall, right?
It's not going to be.
I think when you do your taxes, you're going to be very disappointed.
I think.
I just filed an extension.
Yeah, what could lose him the election is if enough people feel this crunch from the tax thing. And that could really.
He's down his popularity.
Huh?
Like
I heard it's up.
Tweeting. You know, he was like in the 46s or something. Now, I think I heard like 50-something. George Stephanopoulos said it today.
Wait till we invade Iran.
No, you said it went up, Charlene?
I said approval rating.
His unpopular,
His unpopular rating,
Right.
Yeah, sure. He's 96% popular with Republicans. Surprise, surprise. But not everybody's a Republican, Phil.
Yeah, it's just that those are the ones that vote.
Wait, many more people are Democrats, and then there are the independents that are going to be the determining factor, because most Democrats, we know how they're going to vote. They're going to vote for whoever the nominee is of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, if they get out of their house that day.
Phil,
Trump's giving us incentive.
Trump is giving us incentive to get out. Look at what happened in Texas. You know, Beto O'Rourke did not win that election, but he came closer to winning that election than anybody has in years.
The only person that's less popular than Hillary Clinton is Ted Cruz. Now, you know, come on. You know, if he couldn't beat Ted Cruz is the guy you love to hate.
No. But you're talking about
Texas.
Tell him about Texas, Charlie.
Ted Cruz.
Wait a minute. Shut up, Phil. Tell him about Texas. Explain Texas to him, because I live there.
I can't explain it, but they do. People in Texas love Ted Cruz. I couldn't believe it.
They love George Bush.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, these are Texans. You know, slowly that state is going to turn. Slowly, that as more and more
people migrate to Texas,
non-whites migrate to Texas, and you know,
there's a lot of Californians can't afford to live in California, can't find employment, and Texas is wooing a lot of Californians. So, that's why and
let's face it, Beto O'Rourke came pretty close to winning, more than anybody would expect a Democrat to do.
What's this? What's this?
That's what Trump says Beto O'Rourke does. He doesn't do that. He talks with he gestures with his hands. You do that when you're speaking in public. That's how you get seen. Take a look at Billy. Take a look at Billy Graham as an example. Billy Graham used to do this a lot. Hitler did it.
Yeah.
You know,
Hitler did this. Billy Graham was looking for a cross.
Yeah, and Beto O'Rourke is doing this. You know, what's his name? Trump can't talk with his hands because he didn't want to show those tiny fingers.
He makes a little heart thing, and he puts it in front of him.
Does some kind of
what he's doing. It's like he's pointing. No, it's like he's pointing to his penis. That's what it looks like. Only he can't find it.
Yeah,
because he's got a mushroom dick, according to certain people who've been there.
Putin has good hand gestures. You know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, I was looking at Trump and Putin when they were meeting one another initially, and Trump had that thing, and Putin had a very strong stance.
Remember that statue that they had when he was running? New York had it somewhere. That they had like this little shrimpy penis like that, and like his big stomach. That was funny.
There was a mannequin of Trump that was going around, and this guy, I think Alex knows him, Lee Housekeeper, bought it, and he's got the top part of it. He takes it all over the place, sets it, and takes pictures of it in different areas.
Had you ever seen? Reactions. When people see it, does he like get their reaction or something?
Well, he takes it down to like Castro area in the San Francisco.
That's the gay area, right? The Castro.
Yeah.
I saw that movie Milk. That's how I know that.
Yeah.
I've never been to the Castro, but I saw that movie Milk. Yeah.
So we got a lot of again. I'm going to say something I said the other night, and that is, I think it's too early for anybody to be running for anything.
Way too early.
We should say the season doesn't start till January 1st of election year.
Joe Biden said he's the most progressive guy that's running that's not running.
Yeah. We get the joke, Phil.
Yeah.
The fact is that why in the world? I heard somebody say, and it's only 600 days till the next election, and I'm going, come on, we shouldn't even be running around saying I'm running for office. I mean, it's just too fucking early. We should make a law that you just don't start electioneering until the 1st of January. And again, like I said the other night, let's do away with the primaries. They serve no function at all. Let these parties go, have their convention, fight it out as to who's going to be the nominee, and then say, okay, Joe is our nominee, or Sam is our nominee, or Mary is our nominee. Put them out there, put them against the other guys, and have at it for about, let's say, 3-4 months, like they do in England. Okay? Why do we have to have this long period of time in which everybody, by the time election day arrives, is exhausted?
Because this is America.
Yeah, well, it's full of shit, you know.
Alex?
Yeah.
I think Trump started it because he decided that he was going to start running, like he's made
the day he was elected.
Yeah, like he's just started running from day one.
But that was a very smart move, you know.
No, it may be that by the time it's time to vote for him, people are going to be sick and tired of his ass.
No, if he said he was only going to be a one-term president, then he would have been a lame duck.
Yeah, he didn't say he was going to be a one-term president,
no,
but he didn't have to start running the day he was elected, which he did.
Yes, and he's raising money from the day he got elected.
Yeah, he formed this re-election committee.
You know, I must get 45 emails a day, and 30 of them are from the Republicans looking for money and supporting Trump.
And I bet half of them have fear tactics in them, don't they?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I just think that I'm already sick of the next election. It's just too early.
You said it. That's how I feel.
You know,
too.
and I just think that if we were to just limit ourselves to a year for the whole process to take place, like people to announce they're running and so on and so forth, and then for the conventions to take place, no primaries, because I got to tell you, how much does it cost in New Jersey to hold a primary for the Republicans and the Democrats?
35 cents.
Huh? Millions upon millions of dollars that could be used somewhere else. And who does it benefit? It only benefits the two parties. It doesn't even benefit the third parties.
Right.
But it somehow benefits them. I don't know why. And you say, well, Alex, but we've always had primaries. No, we haven't. Mm-hmm. If you go back to the beginning of the last century, we didn't have primaries. I don't think we had primaries until maybe the 20s or 30s. I think maybe the 30s. Up until then, we just had conventions, and they went to the conventions and they fought it out. And maybe on the 20th ballot, somebody was the standard
the smoke-filled room?
Yeah,
the back room.
But you know what happens within the party? It's their job to come out with the best possible candidate. And I can't see us spending all this money and wasting all our time on primaries. I mean. Who is it? MSNBC is holding in, I think it's April or May, their first debate.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
Oh,
I think
man.
I saw that, Alex, right.
I mean, that's amazing. It's terrible. Gee, I can hardly wait. You know, I mean, it's just, it's terrible. And I don't know, what do we do about it? And now look at the Democratic field. Do you know who's number one right now in polling?
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
No.
No. So then that must be Bernie.
Yeah, it's Bernie's first. What's his name? Biden is second, and who's third?
Beto
O'Rourke?
The woman. What's her name? Kamala Harris.
That's right. Number 3.
Oh, Kamala Harris, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She has gained 18% in just the last month. She has.
Her.
Well, yeah, and I think, quite frankly, okay, it's just my opinion. Both Biden and Bernie should get out of the race. I don't think either. I think Biden has a good chance. It could perhaps win simply because he wouldn't take any shit from Trump. But quite frankly, I think it's got to be one of the younger candidates, and I think it's got to be somebody who brings to the table a refreshing agenda. Okay, I mean, I think one of them just came out. Who was it? Was it Cory Booker? What was that? Did I lose? I didn't lose anybody.
No.
I don't know. That's the sound of when I usually lose somebody.
Cory Booker is
pro pot.
What do you call that again? He's like hooking up with that actress now.
Yeah,
the Hispanic actress. Because I guess
she's hot.
Yeah, well, she is hot and everything, but I guess is he doing that because he's trying to get the Latino vote?
No,
I think they were dating for a while.
No, I mean he's black, so to begin with, he has a minority vote. Okay,
and she's Puerto Rican.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of what was one of them came out pro pot. It might have been either Kamala Harris, or it might have been
Kamala Harris said something,
or it might have been Cory Booker
in an interview.
Might have been Cory.
I think it was Cory Booker.
Was it Cory Booker? Yeah.
So. Yeah. It sounds like Beto has also got a lot of baggage. I guess he was arrested for drunk driving. He was arrested for some other stuff. Was it some petty theft or something?
Anybody hear this at all, or is he just?
No, I was just going to say, Alex, I haven't heard about it.
No, he probably is listening to Michael Savage again.
No. He was 17.
Well, he was 17.
And he apologized for it. He apologized for making a joke about his wife, which was nothing that he needed to apologize for.
Well, when you're running for
he
president,
had to apologize to his mother when he was 17 or whatever the hell.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
If you're underage, Phil, you should know this as a cop. Don't they seal juvenile records or something?
They do, but he said it.
He let it go.
Yeah.
Well, if we didn't elect people who got arrested for president, then George Bush would have never become president.
Yeah. But he hasn't waved his arms. Let's see. Beto arrest.
What's his
We'll wait, Phil, while you go combing through everything to try and find Beto's arrests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, arrested in 1990 for burglary and DWI. And that's from PolitiFact?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I got to press the thing.
What was the burglary?
Yeah.
What was the?
Yeah, what did he burgle?
Well, usually it's a house.
Was it armed robbery or something?
No, armed robbery is not burglary. That's
burglary is without a weapon.
No, burglary is when you break into something.
Oh, forget about Beto O'Rourke, because Beto O'Rourke is not going to be the nominee of the party. Okay, plain and simple.
He raised a lot of money.
I think, yeah, but that dries up really fast. When you aren't winning. As soon as you start losing some primaries, you suddenly have a harder time getting the money. So
disappears.
Yeah,
so he was arrested in El Paso.
How old?
Background check.
How old was he?
I'm looking. It was 1990. So how old is he now?
Where are you finding this?
PolitiFact. 1998 misdemeanor DWI arrest.
Okay, that's nothing.
It was dismissed.
Yeah.
All right. He completed diversion. Diversion is when you do public service and you keep your nose clean for a year.
Yeah. And then it's
no, they don't. They expunge it.
So if it's expunged, then none of these things count.
Well, yeah.
Okay, then shut up.
But he was arrested.
Oh, right. But he was arrested. But he was arrested. So I suppose you're not going to like my next topic. The governor.
He says more than 20 years ago, I was arrested not once but twice.
Yeah, well, he's being honest, isn't he?
Yeah. He hopped a fence at a university, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, he's owning up to his past.
Yeah, it looks that way.
Okay. So don't you admire that?
No, I say tar and feather him.
Okay. Anyway, here's the other story, and this will of course drive Phil apoplectic. Your governor in California has put a halt on executions.
Well, that we haven't had an execution in this state in how many years? 20?
A long time.
Long time.
Yeah.
And executions didn't have a halt. So what's the net effect of Gavin Newsom putting a halt? He didn't eliminate it. He halted it.
But he's officially putting a halt to it. Where before, before look, I have a friend on death row, okay? Right. And he's been there forever, God knows. And death row, by the way, is, I think they've had to move it to another building. It's gotten so big, you know, because it just keeps filling up with people. I don't know why they give people the death penalty if they know that they're just going to sit there.
They had their own record company.
Yeah, right. But
Texas has a fix for that.
Yeah. But anyway, so
shoot them.
Well, in Texas, they just, you know, it's like an assembly line.
Yeah, executing somebody, that's called Thursday.
Yeah,
Did
exactly.
you see that they took the electric chair out of San Quentin?
There never was an electric chair in San Quentin.
Yeah.
No, there
They
wasn't.
disassembled it and took it out.
There is no electric chair. There never was an electric chair in San Quentin.
All right. I saw it on the news.
No, no, it was the gas chamber.
Yeah.
They
probably was it the gas chamber? It was this green chair.
Yes, that was from the gas
Green Mile,
chamber.
Phil. Yeah.
California,
No, it wasn't the Green Mile.
California always had the gas chamber, and before that, it was like hanging. Okay, it never was an electric chair ever in San Quentin.
Oh,
everybody
okay.
had
Electric chair was Sing Sing in Ossining, right? I remember when they used to execute people, our lights would dim.
Yeah. Well, they used to call the chair two things: either the hot squat or Old Sparky. Remember that? The headlines would always be they're revving up Old Sparky. Yeah.
Well, you know, when you go to prison, that's what they give you: 3 hots and a squat.
Yeah.
And a cot.
Yes, Charlene. But Phil's trying to be funny. Excuse me.
I know he's always doing that.
Yeah.
So, you had mentioned. I know you've mentioned it, but I can't remember. Did you ever tell us who the person was or what they did? That you said you know someone on death row.
Yeah, his name is Dean, and he used to call my show, and he used to write for my website, the Surfing Monkey thing called Dead Man Talking.
Did he call collect?
He well, of course, you know, as he put it when I said, you know, I don't know what you're in there for, because I never asked him. He said, well, obviously I'm not in here for traffic tickets. And then my girlfriend one day said, don't you want to find out what he did? And I go, no. She said, well, let's go to the library and just look up his name in the stacks. And so we looked up his name, and it led us to an article in Red Book called A Kiss from My Killer. Dean was found guilty of killing 4 women within a period of 2 weeks.
Then, right?
Yeah, and there's another 5th one which they've held unindicted, so that in case he gets away with the other 4, you know. And people say, well, you know, why he killed them all, and he killed them all within about a 2-week period. Wow. And I said, gee, he really got cranky, you know. I mean, but that's what he was in there for. And I didn't want to find out, because the next time he called me, because he always had to call collect, I didn't accept the call. And then finally I did, and then I told him, I said, listen, I found out what you did because my girlfriend made me go to, you know, whatever. And I feel guilty about the fact that I didn't take your call. And he said, everybody gets that way. He said, that's, you know, that's par for the course. I always had very good conversations with him, but I haven't talked to him in, God, it's got to be 20 years now, you know.
Well, they haven't killed him yet.
No, he's still there. I'm sure he will die of old age there.
They commuted his sentence then, right?
No, but because to begin with, there was first there was the halt on executions in California, but he wasn't part of that. But Charlie Manson was.
Yeah, now that was the Rose Bird.
No, it wasn't Rose Bird. It was the Supreme Court.
She was the Supreme Court justice that.
No, she was a California Supreme Court justice.
Right.
No, it wasn't Rose Bird.
But she eliminated the
Phil,
death penalty in California.
No, she didn't. The Supreme Court did. Put a hiatus on all executions in America, and that's
why was she voted out of office?
Well, I don't know why she was voted out of office, but it wasn't because she stopped executions in California. Okay. He's going to go look it up again.
Yeah,
well, at least
not?
It keeps him busy and shuts him up for 5 minutes. No, it was a Supreme Court ruling that halted all executions in America, and that's why Charlie Manson didn't get executed. okay? Then they brought it back in, and my friend was found guilty at that time, and he was given the death penalty. But they've been so slow to execute people in California, they've never quite gotten around to him, and now they probably never will, because your governor Gavin Newsom has stated that he's putting a halt on all executions. So, in other words, the process of going ahead with them. Just because you say that there haven't been executions in 20 years, it's not like prosecutors haven't been trying to get people executed, and it's not like people haven't been trying not to get executed.
But the criminal justice system and the courts in California,
very slow,
and because they want to be.
I would imagine so. And also, I mean, it was suggested, for instance, that I think they did let a lot of people out of California prisons because the population in the prisons was so high the state of California couldn't afford it.
It was the nonviolent.
Yeah, the nonviolent. They let them all out because they just, it was getting out of hand.
Yeah.
From a financial
and now they can
standpoint.
vote.
Huh?
At least if they went to Florida, they could vote.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, but all I'm saying is that I'm happy Gavin Newsom has done that. He's always been out in front of everything. He's the guy that brought about the whole question of gay marriage. He made gay marriage legal in San Francisco until somebody went into court and made it illegal again. But he started the whole conversation across the country and all the moves to make gay marriage or same-sex marriage legal, and he's the guy that should be credited with it. Yes, Charlene.
I apologize if I'm changing the subject. Just let me know. But over the weekend, I saw some kind of magazine show, and when you said gay marriage, it popped into my head. They have a woman rent a mom, and it's for people that their parents don't believe in gay marriage, like they're not happy about you marrying someone, so your mother won't show up, so you rent her as your mom. I'm not kidding. I think they were serious about this.
Really?
And I was like, wow, that's wild, right?
Well,
she's famous now for that.
That's a fun way to end the program, because there's our theme.
Well, tomorrow's Phil Free.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, thank God. We're all looking forward to that.
Maybe off for a week in Florida.
What?
Gonna be in Florida for a week.
When?
Jeff is gonna
starting
be in Florida
when?
for a week, he said.
Starting when, Jeff?
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay. So we'll be missing 2 people. So that means more of you have to take up the slack. Like Charlie will be here, and Charlene try to be here, and of course you'll probably give us a call from Florida, because you always do. Anyway,
photography meeting.
Yeah, big deal. You're going to take shark pictures, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, right, exactly. Anyway, everybody, Phil, thank you, Charlene, thank you, Charlie Wallace, thank you, Jeff Stein. Everybody, give a big wave goodbye to the audience out there, so they can, and I'll wave back at you. There we go. There they are. They're gone for the night now. I will hang up on all of them. I will make the line available so that Jack Bishop can use it for the intersection, which is next over most of this GabNet. Tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time, it will be the Arena with the Franchise MC, our little sports show that happens once a week. And then at 9:30, Damien is back with us again, another episode of The Exchange. And then tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, I will be back on with another episode of The Ramble. Same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody.